I would like to call this regular monthly meeting to order. It is now, oh Lordy, August the 20th. It is 6 p.m. So I want to welcome everybody here. It's so nice to be back in here. I never thought I'd say I love being at board meetings, but it's so good to see everybody back in here and getting started on this new school year. I think we got off to a good start. Everybody seems rejuvenated. And so welcome back. Glad to be here, and we'll try to speed on through here. So I think we got a high school football game about to start up here real soon. So we ask for success there and safety to the players. But I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Wooten now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're delighted to have two Brooklyn Casey students with us tonight to lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Ellery Brown will be leading us in the invocation, is an exceptional senior at Brooklyn Casey High School, where she excels academically and is actively involved in a variety of school organizations and activities. As the editor-in-chief of the yearbook, Ellery demonstrates strong leadership and creativity while helping guide the production of her school's yearbook. She is also a member of Bearcat Buddies, FCA, Sustainability Club, and Latin Club, and represents Brooklyn Casey as a member of the varsity tennis team. Outside of those clubs and organization, she serves as the Student Body Activities Director for BC Student Council. Beyond school, Ellery works as a summer camp counselor, where she enjoys mentoring and working with younger children. With her strong academic record, leadership experience, and commitment to her school and community, Ellery is a well-rounded student who makes a positive impact wherever she is involved. Leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance is Jack Fisher. Jack Fisher is a standout senior at Brooklyn Casey High School, where he is currently ranked #1 in his class. A well-rounded student athlete, Jack serves as the captain of the cross-country team and represents his school on the tennis team while actively participating in the National Honor Society and Latin Club. Beyond his school activities, he is a dedicated Life Scout on track to attain the prestigious rank of Eagle Scout next month. Following graduation, Jack plans to major in mechanical engineering at either USC or Clemson University, with the ultimate goal of specializing in automotive design. Ellery.
Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to gather here today. I ask that you stay with our board members as they make decisions to better our district and our students. I pray for patience and the willingness to keep an open mind and the ability to cooperate for the improvement of our communities. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Jack.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank y'all so much. Go Bearcats.
All right, with no objections, the consent agenda stands approved as presented. And we do not have anyone signed up for public participation tonight. So we're going to move on forward into our LexingtonTwo spotlight. And I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and our community. Tonight, we are excited to introduce a new way of celebrating excellence across LexingtonTwo, the LexingtonTwo Spotlight. We are refreshing our former honors and accomplishments section to create an even more intentional opportunity to recognize the incredible achievements of our students and our staff. The LexingtonTwo Spotlight will shine on those who have earned state and national honors and awards. These individuals represent the very best of LexingtonTwo. Their success reflects talent, hard work, perseverance, creativity, and a commitment to excellence. Most importantly, their accomplishments inspire others and remind us of what is possible for our students, our support, and supporting our educators as we work together for our community. At future board meetings, we look forward to putting the spotlight on the champions for children who are making LexingtonTwo proud. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Hold on, we need a motion.
No, sir.
Well, we did have a public participation, so we'll back up. So we'll jump backwards a little bit. Tonight we had, get my old eyes on. Tonight we have Miss Melissa Goforth has signed up. And as each person will have 5 minutes and no profanity to be used. We also ask that you do not use staff or student names. The board will not give feedback per policy and will receive all comments as information only. And with that, Ms. Goforth is going to be talking on 7B, GBA, GBAA, JM, and E1, Ops Update, EC, and 910, right?
I promise it'll be quick.
All right. Well, I'm going to turn it over to you. You got 5 minutes.
Okay, good evening and congratulations to all those that were recognized before the board meeting tonight. We, as a LexingtonTwo family, have had a great start to the year. It has been so hot and we have been on fire over on Cougar Drive. Not really, it just felt like it with some of the HVAC issues at Riverbank Elementary those first few days, but we do appreciate LexingtonTwo maintenance working diligently to try to cool things down. Also appreciate the Riverbank staff for keeping their cool and not losing it during the first week of colorful chaos. We also want to thank parent volunteers too that came into the rather hot media center for our first PTO meeting. Personally, I was kind of dreading middle school, not gonna lie, all summer. I don't love change all the time, but our 6th grader was so excited and he has had a great few weeks of school at Northside. Major kudos to the Northside staff and their accomplished web leaders for doing such a great job with welcoming us newcomers to the middle school world. I wanted to speak tonight about a few other topics, one of them being the operations update with transportation. I saw that all full-time vacancies are filled with transportation. I think that's great news. After speaking with multiple board members, it seems that the LexingtonTwo Board of Trustees is discouraged from reading public filings related to lawsuits involving Lexington School District 2. I'm not sure why that is, but while I was at the courthouse today, I did see a filing for the second active lawsuit filed against LexingtonTwo concerning special education transportation. One of the most recent case was filed over the summer on July 13th with a concerning report from a mandated reporter that decided to see something and say something. I am so thankful that our buses seem to have great audio and video recording no matter where each investigation leads. It's my hope that you as a board consider paying these drivers what they're worth, as well as hiring as many quality aides as needed rather than just what's required. It was heartbreaking to read an email from a dear friend in Lex2 Transportation last year pleading for an aide after safety concerns. I see all those Lex2 bus driver billboards, and I do know you're trying. I've been told conditions are much better this year and that the SPED team is feeling much more supported than ever. That was encouraging. I wanted to speak tonight about some of the policy changes, particularly those concerning policy GBA, Equal Opportunity and Affirmative Action, GBAA, Sexual Harassment and Retaliation for the staff, JIAA, Sexual Harassment and Retaliation for students, for example. At our June meeting, Ms. Story, I'm assuming that the LexingtonTwo board paid her to be there. She could have volunteered, I'm not sure. But at that June meeting, Ms. Story, a former plaintiff's lawyer that used to work in employment and would sue school districts on a number of discrimination claims, said that's why we want to have really good policies to help protect the district. Make sure we're in a good defensible position if sued under Title VII or some other type of protected class framework. I thought about that statement a lot today while reading those active lawsuits from LexingtonTwo parents. Carving out exceptions will only allow for more harassment while limiting local school district employees and law enforcement investigators in their investigations. Policy changes like this guarantee that any class, both staff and student, that came after the class of 2025 in LexingtonTwo is less safe, less protected against discrimination and sexual harassment because this Board of Trustees is caving, choosing to pander and play politics with policy protections for our kids. As a class of 2033 and 2036 parent, shame on you. That attorney that joined us at the last meeting basically said, it's your policy, you can change it how you choose. So this falls on each of you. How many of you still have children or grandchildren attending this district? It's also infuriating considering the Lex2 district is still entangled in an active harassment lawsuit. That's Allison Bars versus Lexington2. In other news, the 2026 GOP U.S. Senate Special Republican primary runoff is underway. Tomorrow is the last day of early voting, and the regular election day for that will be Tuesday, August 25th. Lexington2 employees will be at work, so just remember to make the polls by 7 p.m. if you are eligible and interested in voting. Just know polls close at 7 p.m. on August 25th. Also, the statewide general election on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2026 is just 75 days away. SC Election Commission shows 4 candidates running to fill 3 available seats on the Lexington2 Board of Trustees. 2 incumbents, Linda Alfred Wooten and Kevin Key, have filed for election. 2 other candidates, Tommy King and Marcus McGill, have also completed statement of intent to file. Please use the next 2.5 months to get to know more about these candidates. And I'd also like to strongly encourage Lexington2 to take advantage of this beautiful facility by hosting a candidate forum that allows parents, staff, students, and other stakeholders to engage each candidate and ask questions both live and online in a meaningful and interactive way, which is allowed by policy KHE, political solicitations in schools. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to turn this back over to Dr. Cooper for the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'm fighting with this microphone. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the school board and our community. At this time, I would like to review the 26-27 superintendent goals with you. We have 6 strategic priority goal areas and 13 sub-goals to support each of those areas. We will begin with number 1, excelling academically. Number 1, increase the percentage of students in grades 3 through 8 scoring meets or exceeds on SC Ready and the percentage of students in Algebra 1 and English 2 scoring a C or higher on the end of course exam by 3% in comparison to the 25-26 school year data as reported on the South Carolina School Report Card. Number 2, increase the percentage of students in grades 4 through 8 meeting their added value target by 2% as measured by the South Carolina School Report Card. Strategic priority number 2, supporting students. 1, successfully implement early grades reading structured support program and intervention by the conclusion of the school year as evidenced by usage data reflecting all elementary schools. 2, implementation of district-wide curriculum for multilingual students as evidenced by usage data reflecting all schools. Strategic priority 3, preparing graduates. Number 1, improve the percentage of students earning college or career-ready status as indicated on the South Carolina Report Card in comparison to the 25-26 school year data by 3%. Number 2, improve the percentage of students who graduate in 4 years as reported by the South Carolina Report Card compared to the 25-26 school year by 2%. Number 3, improve the percentage of the graduating class who receive a career and industrial certification by 2% as compared by the 25-26 school year. Strategic priority number 4, recruiting and retaining employees. 1, increase the retention rate of eligible certified educators and teachers by at least 2 percentage points over the 25-26 baseline, excluding retirements and other separations not reasonably influenced by district retention efforts. And 2, implement a consistent staffing allocation ratio for budget planning and strategic planning. Strategic priority 5, engaging our communities. Implement the brand ambassadorial program for promoting district online. Strategic priority 6, sustaining excellent educational environments. 1, successfully implement a district-wide safety awareness campaign that educates the community on the Safety and Security Department's programs, promotes transparency, and strengthens confidence in our efforts to ensure safe and secure learning environments. 2, present a revised long-range plan to the school board in January that establishes the foundation for the 27-28 CPIF budget, prioritizing the replacement of Congaree Elementary School. And number 3, by January develop, revise, and present a comprehensive device replacement plan to the board that incorporates projected price escalation and aligns device replacement priorities with instructional needs and effective classroom technology use. And with that, Mr. Chair, that concludes my recommended superintendent goals for 26-27.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper. And I think it's still with you about destination schools.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Next one, thank you. Nope, that's not the right one. It's the end of it. There you are. Thank you so much. Tonight, we begin an important part of our work around our vision of destination schools. When we speak about destination schools in Lexington 2, we're talking about schools that families choose because the experiences and the opportunities that we provide, they want to be available to their children. These are schools where employees are grounded and invested and continue growing in their efficacy themselves. These are schools where our students want to attend, are learning, and are happy to be there and know that they belong, are supported, and are being challenged. And then these are schools where our community sees our progress and our efforts, and they want to invest in us. Over the coming months, each of our schools will present our vision plan to the school board and to our community. These plans will highlight the unique identity of each school, programs, pathways, experiences, and opportunities that distinguish that school and make it a destination for students and families. And tonight, we are pleased to begin with Springdale Elementary School. So I'll call on Ms. Ariel, principal, and her team to take the podium. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Dr. Cooper, and members of the board. Thank you all so much for this opportunity for us to get to present our destination plan to you. I want to start by introducing some of the people that I brought with me. I have my assistant principal, Miss Melanie Yoder. We have our ag teacher, Miss Creech, our STEM coach, Miss Wiseman, our literacy coach, Miss Loudon, and then we also have some community partnerships with us, Mr. Underhill with House of Rayford, and in the audience we have President Brandon with Farm Bureau. So we are very excited to have them supporting us here tonight. We have our whole ag venture lined out ready to tell you, and I'm going to call on my team to help me with that.
When we started this journey, we really wanted it to connect to our current mission and vision, and that's becoming a school of excellence. Our vision is to integrate agriculture into academics that are hands-on. We want our teachers to collaborate, to provide real-world learning experiences for our students that are engaging, and we want to tap into our wonderful community because partnerships matter. So we are continuing to strive to be that school of excellence. So as you see here, some of our current opportunities that we have going on at Springdale. I'm going to let Ms. Creech kind of share what she's been doing and having for us.
Okay. All right. So everyone has seen or met all of our animals. They're kind of the highlight of Springdale right now. So we have 3 new goats, our 7 chickens that have been in tow for a couple of years now. And those are thanks to Chuck with House of Rayford and that partnership. Our trout in the classroom, we are raising trout from eggs where we will release those back into the Saluda River, and that is a partnership with the Department of Revenue, not Revenue, they're not giving us money, with DNR and Trout Unlimited. The gardening, we have planted and harvested all kinds of things in the garden. We started that grant with the Clemson Extension Program, and we are continuing that. Our hopes are to get a greenhouse sooner rather than later if it goes my way. We are about to start harvesting or planting for the fall. Our embryology project is also with the Clemson Extension Program, and that is the life cycles of chickens and all the things that go with that. And that is a project that started years ago, but led us to the whole chicken coop that House of Rayford sponsored. Our South Carolina Green Steps, we were just awarded a to be a certified Green Step school. We will sustain the projects that we started last year, and we are adding 7 more this year. And then our monthly agriculture literacy is with Ag in the Classroom, also sponsored through Farm Bureau.
So how we got started and kind of got on this path, our biggest why, as you can see in some of the pictures, are the smiles on the students' faces. This is fostering a love of learning for them. They enjoy coming, they enjoy learning about, they enjoy helping with, and getting all of these hands-on real-world experiences. We've kind of been baby stepping our way to this for a couple of years with different teachers doing different ag-focused projects in their classroom, and it really started to become like, if you get this teacher, you get this experience, but this teacher might not get it, or this grade, you get this, but this grade might not get it. And we didn't want that. We wanted this to be something that all of the students in Springdale could get to experience. So as we were looking at some of our physical strengths and academic strengths, and then areas that we wanted to grow in both of those places, we didn't want it to be all isolated. We wanted to really create this living laboratory that all of our students would get to participate and learn from. And so the connection with science is that it is the application of all the things that they are learning in ELA and math. I'm going to turn it over to my coaches to tell you some more specific connections to math and literacy.
When it comes to integrating what we're already doing with agriculture, the connections for math are clear and endless. It is continually shown in our data that the sets of standards that students in upper elementary struggle with the most at the end of year tests are the domains of measurement and data. As a specific example of how we're addressing that, we started graphing the amount of eggs that the chickens lay, and we showed these graphs on the morning news show. It led to some of our youngest learners, our first graders, who then saw these same type of graphs in their social studies text and were able to make those connections. This isn't just one more thing that we're doing. We are laying a foundation for students in younger grades to be successful later in their academic career.
For ELA, across the entire school, we saw weaknesses via our map data in vocabulary and in informational text. And so this is the perfect way to blend those two things together, because we know as kids get more experiences, their vocabulary grows. So instead of saying, something like sprouting, they might be using terms like germination and photosynthesis and incubation of eggs. And then we're taking informational text and they're reading more complex informational text, but they're also learning to read and write and do math like scientists would do. So science being that kind of umbrella, and agriculture being the living space that it gets to live and breathe. The kids are going to be writing like scientists, keeping journals, tracking the number of eggs that are being laid, observing the goats and their growth and things like that. And so we just wanted to really make this integrated and seamless across all the content areas.
So some of our school objectives for this program is to really drive that academic growth. We want to establish this innovative agriculture program. We want to bring in some strong partnerships with our community, and then ultimately we want to build these well-rounded, caring, responsible students at our school.
So as we talk specifically about our academic identity, our hope is that all of the academics will become more meaningful for our students. The connections that they're able to make in these real-world experiences are transferring to the classroom. It's giving them a context for things that previously they only ever read about in books, and now they're getting to experience it. So when they do read about it in a text, they've got that background to pull from. We were having a conversation when some of the students were out there with me and they were feeding the goats, and we were comparing what it's like to feed a goat, which if you've never done it before, because I never had, it's very nice and gentle and calm, and they're licking your hand. If you've ever fed a chicken, it's a little bit more intense. So we were having great comparison conversations, and they were very quick to tell me who had not gotten to feed a chicken yet, to make sure I corrected that very quickly. But it is deepening their understanding and their ability to recall the information that they're learning about and reading about and getting those hands-on times for. So our goal is that through all of this, we will see an increase in our academics for ELA, math, and science with MAP and SC Ready data. We are working very hard to align everything that we're doing to the specific South Carolina standards, and we are allowing time for this work to happen because it does take a lot of time and a lot of intentional planning. And we know that teachers have a lot that they're doing and they are very excited about this, but to do it well, we need to provide the time for that. So in our weekly data meetings, we are having conversations about how what they're doing in ELA and math can connect and incorporate into this agriculture study or journey that we're on. We're also using the in-service days to provide extra support for them to learn strategies to implement it. We're pulling in outside resources, we're pulling in district resources to help support all of this and just really make it purposeful. And several teachers have said that that was one thing they appreciated the most. They love what we're doing, but just the time to plan for it and make sure it's all meaningful. We also are very fortunate to have USC tall teachers in our building, and they are doing one of their methods courses working with our ag class. So they're getting to learn and build curriculum and work right alongside us as we're going through this. So we're really just wanting students to not learn the standards, but get to live them and live these experiences.
Okay, like Ms. Ariel said, we've been cultivating these ideas for years, for about 5 years, should I say. The idea is for our identity, for students to understand that they are taking care of the things that sustain them with agriculture, to help them to become environmental stewards in our community and getting partnerships with the people in our community that will support that and partner with us. Not just this year as we get started, but further down the road as well. We've mentioned Ag in the Classroom, Farm Bureau, the Lexington County 4-H program, Clemson Extension. Those have all already had a major impact on us. And then just the parent and community support buy-in that we've gotten through social media and other platforms.
I appreciate your time to address you all and know several of you very well. It's an honor to be a part of our community as a House of Rayford representative. And unfortunately, when you live in an urban area, our kids don't understand where our stuff comes from. And I remember Dr. Troffler many years ago, she was telling me a story about taking some children to the Marionette Theater. And as they crossed the river, the kids ran to the windows because they were looking at the ocean. Unfortunately, for agriculture, it's the same way. Our kids do not know where their green beans come from. They don't know how Chick-fil-A gets its chicken. And they certainly have no idea the hard work that goes into being a producer to serve our communities and our country. And so it's very powerful for us to have this type of impact and to have partners like Springdale Elementary and many other schools in our district that we partner with on lots of different levels, but hopefully pointing everybody toward getting outside, looking at this beautiful world that God's created and giving us an opportunity to explain to them and help them learn through these outdoor classrooms. We look forward to lots of opportunities and certainly would enjoy opportunities to speak with you about maybe some vision or dreams that you have that could impact. I see a lot of area here in the parking lot. We could do some really nice things, Dr. Cooper. I just want you to know. Yeah, listen, the greenhouse, Mary's greenhouse or whatever. So however we can help. We want to be a catalyst for groups and other companies to do good because it's worth it. So I appreciate your time.
And that's how you get started with all these things. You're at a fall festival and Mr. Underhill says, why don't we have a chicken coop? And then you get one. So yes, but our identity that we are building through this is that when we have people in the community talking about Springdale or thinking about Springdale, we want them to think about all of these opportunities that we're providing for our students. We want this to be the conversation. We've had great experiences so far on social media with the things that we're doing. Lots of people reaching out, wanting to know how we're doing these things, how they can do these things and bring these opportunities to their schools. We're, again, wanting to build that consistency across all the grade levels, so no matter what point in your educational career you join Springdale, you're getting to experience all that we can offer you. Always wanting to increase our academics, but our culture surveys as well. I hope as you've looked through the pictures, you've seen all the smiling faces. We have not yet had someone that came to visit. Our goats they're really great. So Agnes is the runt, and she fully lives up to her name. She is the most vocal and energetic one of the bunch. But everyone that comes out there and holds them or feeds them or spends time with them walks away very happy, and we are transferring that into the classroom with academics as well, not just to feel good, but making sure we are growing in everything we're doing. We are having an event of an Ag Venture evening where we will get to share all of this with our school community, and parents will have a chance to go around to the different ag areas that their students will be learning in and experience some of it themselves, while students will be in the classroom doing some hands-on ag literacy, math connected activities that they can share with their teacher or with their parents when they come back to the room as well. I think I was off the identity with it.
Do you have a date for that?
Yes, it is on our beautiful flyer. It is September 10th. We will feed anybody that comes, thanks to more partnerships. And when I tell you the community has been so supportive of all this, we were at Discount Tires on Platte Springs. So if you need tires on Platte Springs, and we were talking about how our goats needed like places to play on, and so they donated 3 massive tires to our goats for that time. So the whole community has gotten involved, but Springdale Baptist will be providing dinner for all the families that come to our Ag Venture evening, and it will be at 5:45 on September 10th. So we would love for y'all to come. You'll get to experience all the things then too. We're getting lots of offers to help with stuff. We posted some of our volunteers building the obstacle courses, and others have asked how they can help support, that they want to come up. And it's not just like a one and done situation, like the goat lady is reaching out and providing more instruction for different things. We call House of Rayford all the time and ask lots of questions. I tell him I was a Forest Acres child. I don't know anything about chickens, so when they lose all their feathers, I get really scared. Apparently that's normal, so it's okay. You don't have to worry for the chickens. But we're really building these experiences that the whole community can rally around and get behind and support, which is what we're wanting to do.
Absolutely, and thank you, Team Springdale, for this wonderful informational presentation about your destination vision. In light of all the wonderful planning that has already taken place at your school, I would like to take the opportunity to recognize once again Mr. Brandon Myers, President of Lexington County Farm Bureau. Would you please stand, Mr. Farm Bureau's already donated $5,000 worth of supplies and agricultural curriculum for classrooms. In addition, I'd also like to recognize once again Mr. Chuck Underhill, who is everyone knows him, with the House of Rayford. The House of Rayford has already donated over $10,000 worth of supplies and materials to this project of the Destination School Plan. Thank you, Mr. Underhill. And lastly, I would like to ask the board for their consideration and to acknowledge and approve donations already applied to this destination project, as well as any future donations over $10,000 earmarked for any destination plan.
We're going to jump right at that, Ms. Wooten.
Yes. First of all, Springdale, thank y'all for that lovely presentation. And I just have to tell a funny story. I was out Monday night with 3 other LexingtonTwo alumni. 3 of us graduated before most of y'all were born, and the topic of conversation were the goats at Springdale Elementary. So it's just wonderful, and it is so wonderful for Farm Bureau and the House of Rayford. We appreciate all that y'all do for LexingtonTwo and look forward. And with that being said, using Administrative Rule BGD-R under special circumstances, I make a motion that we accept the administration's plan for destination schools, starting with Springdale and all future schools in the future, to include the school curriculum, funding, gifting, partnership, sponsorship, etc.
I had a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Did y'all see the logo? Is that the best logo? Flip that back up there. Jim, can you pull that back up there?
It took a lot of work to get the animals in the right places with the right things.
That was creative. Look at that thing.
I have a shirt.
With the dolphin, the chicken, and the goat. I've been hollering for this for years. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. It's a great opportunity for our kids.
Well done.
Well done. Was there any questions or anything? I think
No,
Mary had a question.
I just wanted to congratulate y'all. I actually worked at one time in a place that was fully integrated like this, where every subject was taught through another means. And one of the things I would tell you is, it does require a lot of teachers, but it allows for a lot of creativity. And y'all have got a lot of creative teachers, which means you can kind of bounce off one another and get ideas and figure out what to do. And my little story, Ms. Wooden, is that I used to read a book called Chickens Aren't the Only Ones to my little classes. And at the end, it's going over the fact that lots of other things lay eggs besides chickens. And the punchline at the end is, and they are all oviparous. Okay, that's the way the book ends. Well, every little kid I ever taught would walk around going, oviparous. And so I really applaud what you guys are doing. You're doing a fantastic job. And if I'm correct, Dr. Cooper, this is not going to be our only destination school. We have different themes for different schools. And so if you're in the public thinking, I wish my child went there, well, we've got plans for you too.
That's right.
So thank y'all so much. Great job.
Good job.
I'm gonna have to see if I can go back to third grade. I might have some more years left in me there. Great job. Did you have anything?
I don't have anything.
All right.
I'm turning it over.
All right, we're gonna turn it over to finance. I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Strickland.
Good evening to everyone. Well, I feel like this is gonna be kind of boring compared to chickens, goats, and fish. But I did upload the financials, the July financials for you last week. So if you've had time to review, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Mr. Chair, how about last year's financials?
The June financials will be part of the audit, when we have the audit.
All right, when's that?
At the November board meeting.
Can I request that we go ahead and get that on the next meeting, just so that we kind of have an idea of what the ended out? June, we saw, yeah, I felt.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right, without objection, the monthly financial reports are set as presented, and we're gonna stay over Ms. Strickland.
I also have the pupil activity report, and that is comparing the unaudited June numbers to July. So what happens is the balances from June just roll over to the beginning balances of July. So you have those two comparisons right there as well.
Mr. Chair, when we look at that comparison, are we also making sure that all the sub-accounts that expired are getting moved into the basic general school account?
I have asked the bookkeepers and the principals to make sure any stale accounts have been rolled up so those monies can be expended.
Thank you.
Any others? All right, we're gonna move on into our human resource report, and I'm gonna turn this over to Ms. Hubbs.
Wait, we still have sole source.
I have one more.
Oh, I thought we did that, okay.
The, per our procurement policy, we are to bring our sole source procurements and our emergency procurements before the board, just to report what we have done for the year. And you see listed what our sole source procurements were in fiscal year 25-26, and we had no emergency procurements. So that is just for your information, per our procurement policy.
Mr.
Mr. Chair, sorry. I was looking through this, and none of them look to be needs for sole source. They all look like they can be pretty competitive. You know, the first one definitely looks like there's 3 or 4 real estate schools in the area. Then the second one, like there's tons of Snap-on trucks and the other company. Like across the board, none of them scream sole source. I haven't looked through our procurement policy recently, but since none of them are emergent, I think it probably makes sense for us to explain to the community and any people who might have wanted to go for one of these but never saw an RFP to say why this got sole sourced to Real Estate School for Success instead of Real Estate School of the Midlands.
Okay, let me get some more information for that, and we can bring that back to you.
Yeah, I think that'd be good to look at. Anytime we have a sole source, I think it's our job to tell the people, hey, this is why we had to sole source this. We're not just picking Fred because we like Fred.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't think Fred was on there. I just picked Fred.
All right, that all you got, Ms. Strickland?
That's it.
All right, now we're going to jump down to Ms. Hucks, Human Resources.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chair, board members, and Dr. Cooper. Good evening. I do have the report for you. We have 13 support vacancies at this time. And I'll take any questions if you have any.
Any questions for there?
No teachers.
No teachers.
Great work. That's awesome.
Good. All right, we're going to jump on down into instruction, and I'm going to turn this over to Dr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members of the board. The first item I have for you tonight is, as we provide for you annually, our 10-day enrollment report, so you can see the information that kind of gives you a breakdown by grade level and by school, what our enrollment across the district looks like. Of course, we, every day since school started, have enrolled new kids and we've withdrawn kids. So this number floats and moves. It always takes around the 45th day before we start to see the hard number. That's just how it works in education sometimes. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. We are at hard work right now, calling families of kids that didn't show back up for the first day of school to look at where they are, to ask where they've moved or if they're coming back to school. So our social workers have been hard at putting that work together for us, and we'll continue to monitor our enrollment as we go. The second item that I have to share with you this evening is our assessment results for 25-26. Of course, I always call this the autopsy data. It's over, it's done. Now we just have to figure out what we're going to do with the information that we get. And so this year, for the first year in a few years, we actually have the data early enough to do some proactive pieces with our schools, with our teachers, with our kids, most importantly, to try to figure out how do we help support some of those needs across the district. So this evening, I'm going to give you kind of a giant overview of these data points so that we can look at those as a district. We do have some areas to celebrate tonight, and I think that's very important for us to say. Of course, this information was shared by the State Department of Education on August the 10th. And at that point, the state released the SC Ready scores, so that's the testing from grades 3 through 8, our end-of-course exams for grades 9, or really 8 through 12, our high school career readiness assessments, as well as the access testing for our multilingual students. These data capture, of course, all students tested in 25-26, so all the tests that we gave at the end of the school year, these data will collect all of that information. Now, in 2 months, I'll be back to share with you the school report card data. Those numbers will look different because when we look at tonight's information, this is every kid who took a test. For accountability purposes, some kids don't count. So that data will look different because we now have students who were not continuously enrolled, students who did not complete coursework. There's a number of reasons that would exclude kids from those data points. So it will look different when we come back in 2 months. Just want to make sure I always put that clarification out there because it does get confusing that we look at 2 sets of data. It's important for us to look at all kids tested because then we can really see the effectiveness of some of the things we put in place. We can really start to analyze how our trend data looks. We can also look harder at how our students are progressing across the district. And of course, our goal is from the State Department of Education is that by 2030, at least 75% of students will perform at or above grade level. That is a lofty, lofty goal that we've had for quite some time in this state, and we continue to work toward that. And also that every South Carolina student graduates college, career, or military ready. So those are our sort of our 2030 goals that we've been working toward. So I'm going to start tonight with our SC Ready data and just give you kind of a snapshot of what that looks like. First off, for a student to be on track to meeting that 2030 goal, this is for grades 3 through 8. They're tested in several areas, ELA and writing. It's 3 days of assessments that they take. Math is 2 days, and science is only tested in grades 4 and 6. And they have to earn a score of meets and exceeds to be able to be considered on track for meeting that 2030 goal. So if you'll take a look, this shows you all 6 grade levels tested for the area of language arts. And I'm going to call your attention to the last 4 columns because I think that's where the results really lie. And if you look first at the 26, you can see here that, first of all, 5 out of 6 grade levels had our highest ELA performance in 5 years as a district. But also, if you look at the gray column, you can see how we stack up towards the state. So we still have a gap. We still have work to do, but we are closing that gap very nicely. We made some advancement this year, and we're beginning to see that start to close. In addition to that, I think it's important, one of the pieces that we look at is how much did the state grow this year? So we know we're behind the state, but we want to look at, did they grow by 2%, 10%, -4%? So we look at how we did against them. And when you look at our growth across the year versus the state, you see those last 2 columns really start to paint a little picture for us that we're making good improvement. In language arts this year, only 6th grade did we see a decline as a district in where we were. And we know that there are lots of factors that go into that, and that's what our team has been working on for the last really probably 2 months, is understanding what happened there. Why didn't we have the growth that we needed in 6th grade? And also, when we look at some of those growth pieces, we look in particular at 4th and 5th grade at the gains that we made in language arts. So it's very impressive to see that we're getting that positive movement there. Similarly, in math, also 5 out of 6 grade levels made an improvement. Again, highest performance in 5 years. So we're very, very pleased with that. Again, 6th grade, not quite where we wanted it to be, but we're going to get our 6th grade kids, we're going to get them there. They're moving the right direction. We just got to move a little faster and a little harder with them. But you can also see the difference in our increases from 25 to 26. I do want to point out 5th and 8th grade. An 11 and 16% increase is almost unusual, but we're going to take it and we're going to celebrate it because we know that those teachers did a lot of really strong work. This is also a progression of math standards changes from several years ago that are now catching up to us. So we'll see some movement in the positive direction because of some of the realignment of the standards, but also some of the redirection of what we teach and how we teach it. And so we're really excited to see those gains. And you can see the difference in what the state did. But again, I'll call your attention to 8th grade. The state increased, there's a 10-point difference between what we increased versus what the state increased. So I do have to give a shout out to our 8th grade teachers for really doing some great work. And Ms. Wise leading that charge with the math folks. We do know that our schools, we were the first district in the state to district-wide adopt the Zern math program last year. I'm not a program guy. I don't really like programs, but I will tell you that what that program does is more than just sit on the computer and work. There's a teacher embedded in every problem that those kids are working on. And so we're seeing that by sacrificing that few minutes of instruction from the teacher can now work with small groups. They can do a lot of other really neat things that we're now seeing those positive results. So very excited about that. Similarly, science, when we look at our science grades, our science scores, also an improvement there. And of course, the blank is because there was no test that year. The scores were not counted because it was a new test with new standards. But you can see our science scores have increased, and we are closing that gap between us and the state averages there as well. 9% in 6th grade science improvement, very, very strong improvement for us. When you look at this by schools, so these tables will show you what each school looks like, and you'll see there are 2 columns for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, so this gives you a year-to-year comparison. You want to look at the green, because the green shows that we made an improvement, some areas more than others, but certainly good improvement across the map this year. Also, if you see the yellow, that's our at or above state averages. So we have schools and grade levels that are already hitting that state average And they're making those gains. And you see, if we take Springdale fifth grade, for example, their students performed at above the state average and close to the state 2030 goal. So if we keep having years like that, we're going to see lots and lots of great improvement. In our math, or in our middle schools, you can see here that these are their ELA scores as well. Would love to see more green here, but we're seeing movement in the right direction. And again, because we have these data so early, we can spend more time with teachers helping them plan for what they need to do instructionally to get that movement. Similarly with math, you see, again, more green here. Again, our middle school, our elementary schools, again, rethinking, revisioning how we teach math, adding to some really strong success there. You see the fifth grade, good, strong movement in the positive direction there. You can see some really nice gains in particular grade levels. Same thing with middle school. Again, all 4 of our middle schools did pretty well, and you see the strong gains again in that 8th grade, but really in all 3 grade levels, making good movement and progress there. Science, this is our 4th grade science scores. You can see, again, last year was the first time we actually saw the data of what our science tests look like with new standards, new assessments. We see, again, positive movement there this year from all of our schools. We also see that same growth and movement in our middle schools. We know that some teaching strategies that we put in place last year, some revamping of how we teach science has really yielded some positive results. So to kind of give you some summary highlights for the SC Ready assessment, these are the highest scores we've had in 5 years in 5 out of 6 tested grades in ELA, 5 out of 6 tested grades in math, and both grades tested in science. We outpaced the state growth in 2 of the 6 tested grades in ELA, 4 of the 6 in math, and both grades tested in science. And in ELA, 9 of our 10 schools saw growth in at least 1 grade level. So everybody had some type of growth in there. And in math, every single school saw growth in at least 1 grade level. So we're taking these data, we're looking hard at what our teachers have done, what we need to do differently, what we need to spend more time really building on, what are those skills that we need to rethink, and really keeping that focus tight and focused on trying to get the growth to happen. So that's our SC Ready scores. The next piece I'll share with you is the information about our end of course exam program. And I do want to just call a couple of things to your attention in a moment about the end of course test. So these are our high school kids, typically our 8 through 12, this year just 9 through 12. And in order for a student to be on track by 2030, they have to score a C or better on the end of course exam. And of course, we test in Algebra 1, we test in English 2, we test in Biology 1, and we test in U.S. History. Just an important note when you see these numbers, because they may make your eyes cross for just a moment, I do want to point out in Algebra 1, last year we had a math sequence change. So we moved from teaching algebra, teaching geometry, we flip-flopped some things at the change of the state. And so basically, last year our Algebra 1 scores are only students that had to repeat the course. So these are students who already struggled in algebra, they're already challenged, they're challenged in that area to begin with. Likewise, in Biology 1, it's the exact opposite. So a swap in environmental science and biology caused us to not assess any students other than our students who were taking honors level biology. So when you see the scores, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. So of course, if you look at all 4 areas, our Algebra 1, yes, our total percent of a C or better was 17%. Again, very small number of students, and students who typically were mostly repeater students, students who were repeating the course, or students who had some other challenges in there. And so you can see where we landed there, which does show a negative growth for us. But again, there was that change. Now we expect the exact opposite next year. You should see that number go back up because now we'll have more students who will be assessed in algebra. Likewise with biology, you see we're very proud of the 61% C or better who in Biology 1. These are again our honors level students taking an honors level course for extra quality points on their GPA who took that assessment. So next year, when we do this same debrief in fall of 27, you should see those numbers balance back out. So we want to be closer in line with where the state averages are, but certainly want to see them look better than where they were 2 years ago. And then finally, you see our results for English 2, which we continue to close the gap with the state. And U.S. history continues to be a challenge statewide, and certainly we're working to help close that gap as well. So what are we doing to increase these these end-of-course test results? First off, we've brought in some support and assistance from the Department of Education for U.S. history to help train and retrain our teachers to make sure that we're teaching the right things. I taught U.S. history. There were a lot of things I love to talk about that were not assessed, and I probably shouldn't have even taught them, but I did it anyway. So we're trying to help teachers keep it tight, keep to the things that we know the kids have to know to be proficient in U.S. history. We also have gone back and realigned, of course, the environmental science for our 10th grade kids. And then, of course, that biology piece, really focusing in environmental science to give them a good precursor for what they're going to do in biology. And then for our Algebra 1, we have some great resources from the state. There's one called the Modern Classroom Project, which really provides a lot of instructional support and really good, solid strategies and skills for kids to use in learning math, particularly in Algebra 1. And again, some of the other pieces that we've put in place include things like some more remediation type programs, things that are going to help prepare kids for that course. And then finally, you all may recall 2 years ago, we introduced benchmark assessments so that we could do some checking along the way for our end-of-course tests. And the feedback we heard from teachers was they wanted something that would help them break down their data more. So we invested in a purchased set of assessments this year that are really robust, and a lot of districts similar to us in the state had been using them and seeing good gains in their end-of-course tests. So we purchased those this year, and we've already given the first round of those. And you didn't get an ABC tonight because you're getting all the data, but we will in the next one have those results for you so you can see kind of where our high school kids have landed. And it's been really neat just to hear our teachers talking about how much information they're getting already that they've not had access to this early in the year before. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have. That was a lot of information, I know, and I did it very quickly. So I'm happy to slow down and answer your questions tonight.
Mr. Hall?
The resequencing, is that our school, or is that statewide?
So the resequencing in both the science and the math area was a state level decision. That was something that we were told to do.
Ms. Burkett?
Well, let me just add to that. I mean, I was really disappointed to see that. And even with the resequencing, I almost wish you had gone ahead and tested students because there were some of them who were taking Algebra 1. And as you know, that's one of the highlight areas on our school improvement plans for the high schools. And so we're just going to have no information basically to apply to whether we're improving the high schools or not. So, I mean, I would have preferred any information to no information. I have to say, it just in the way of an overview, y'all know that I'm the person who's always harping on student data and student performance all the time. And I gave Dr. McDonald a big hug. And if I could hug every one of you and every one of the teachers, I certainly would, because you deserve just a great, great thank you from all of us. So let me lead that. And Dr. McDonald, I just wanted to ask you, I'm just looking at the ELA grades 3 through 5 for all the schools. I agree with you. I don't know how you get a 13-point jump, but I'm not going to question how that happened. But why would you get like an 8-point drop? I mean, I kind of can understand how you could have something new that you're teaching and all of a sudden kids pick it up. But what about if you have a monumental drop? I mean, what accounts for that?
So sometimes that is, you know, one of the things we do is what you see is a comparison of third grade to third grade. We try to look at the fourth grade kids. So if there's a drop in fourth grade, what did those same kids do in third grade? So we look at it diagonally, we look at it horizontally, we try to look at it from every angle. Sometimes it is a change in the language. You know, maybe they wrote different questions, they were written a little different way. Sometimes it comes to a particular standard we didn't teach. Sometimes it comes to one class across the district that may have been without a teacher for whatever reasons for some time. So it's really, that's the work that our schools have to do. They've been doing the last couple of weeks since teachers came back, really, is trying to understand, if I got a dip, what happened? Was this a class, was it a class issue? Was it a test issue? Was it honestly, is it a me issue sometimes? So really looking at all those angles and trying to figure that out. So there's really always a list of things that could be. We never really know what was, if that makes sense.
Okay. The other thing that I wondered is, like, for instance, if we're looking at grade 3, where Congaree had a huge drop and Wood had a huge increase, I mean, is there any way that we can get the 3rd grade ELA teachers at Wood to sort of mentor with the ones at Congaree, even if they're just doing that by phone once a week or Zooming or something like that, just to say, well, what did you guys do? I mean, just because if somebody's having a lot of success, I think it'd be lovely for them to tell other teachers how they're going about that.
So we do that. We have teachers who go visit other schools. A lot of times principals will say, look, I've got this teacher that needs help with blank. What teacher do you have that can do it well? And then we match teachers. Our content folks spend a lot of time helping partner those resources across the district. Our coaches at all the buildings are spending time doing the same thing on the phone, on Google Meets, trying to figure out, okay, what did y'all do to get this? We need to do that to get that. So those things are happening. Okay. I'm with you. I always love to see more of that. One of the things even with our middle schools this year, every 6th grade teacher in this district has planning at the same time, so we can do more things like that. A lot of our schools have similar times now we've not had before to allow for even more of that kind of collaboration across the district, and also going to other districts to see what they've done. We've had schools that have gone out and looked at some of these. Our state superintendent has been highlighting schools all over the state. We send folks to go look at them, see what they're doing, how are they getting those kinds of results. So yes, that is our perfect world. We want that to happen as much as possible, and we try our best to make sure that that happens among our schools, but again, other schools as well.
And there was a school that Ms. Weaver highlighted that had an elementary school gone from underperforming to excellent this year. Are we going to send somebody PDQ there to find out?
We will be.
How did you do that?
2 more were identified today, and I've got a whole list of those on my desk. So we'll be sending some folks to visit places to see what they did to get there.
I would love to know that. I mean, if they said, we did these 5 things and it just made a huge difference. I always like the sort of pie-in-the-sky approach as opposed to saying, let us improve by 3%. I appreciate that, but I probably am always shooting for the moon. So I would love to know if you can come back to us and say, we went, this is what we found out. I would love to know that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the information. Before we get into the data on the SE Ready, the enrollment report, Congaree has pre-K and first graders. I assume that's...
These are special ed class. This is a special ed class that they have there. We placed that class there last year, I believe, Ms. Todd. Last year we placed that class there. We needed a space. They had an available space. So this is long-term. These kids will be attending Congaree. So we went ahead and placed them there as early learners.
Gotcha, cool. For science in 4th and 6th grade, I think they were like, I don't know, 5 points up for 4th grade and 8 points up for 6th grade. I'm no pedagogist, but presumably if you're hitting nearly 4 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 that are meeting in the science world, then obviously they can read the question, and the majority of science, no offense to the other things, but is math. So if we're doing really strong in 6th grade in science, which we are, but in 6th grade our ELA in math is this year not doing great, have we kind of worked to discern? I mean, to me, the science grade tells me that the capability's there, and probably the training is there. It might be a testing thing. Have y'all had a chance to look at that yet?
So that is the conversation that was had as soon as we saw the scores is, well, how did we get this but not that?
Right.
And that's the game we do go back and bounce back and forth. It's like a tennis match. Well, if the kid could do it there, why didn't they do it there? But yes, I mean, we spent a lot of time looking at the quality of question from science. We know that there's an interest there. You heard a presentation earlier from a school that's going to tie more of those science thinking pieces into other areas, which we know kids get excited about. some of the science topics, but also, you're right, the basic skill is they can read and they can do the math part. And so just, looking at those standards that match and cross and align, anytime we can say, okay, well, they're doing this in science, let's move it to math, we try to do that. And we're working with our coaches and folks to do more of that kind of work with our curriculum maps especially.
If they're in the preceding meetings that we have, like up towards Christmas or so, if we find any like golden nuggets there, will you please bring those to us? Because there's something there. We just got to figure out what it is. And I think it being reported would be beneficial to all. I think you kind of mentioned it, but do we normalize any of this data over 2 or 3 years to find like a team or a cohort or individual teacher that every class they were 4 or 5% growth?
We do. So we look at it across the board. So we will look at, we even break it down and look at standard levels. So this teacher had success with 3 of the 10 standards. This teacher had success with 6 of the 10 standards. Who had the growth and the gains? So yes, we spend a lot of time really digging in as deep as we can to figure out who are the success stories and how do we replicate some of those practices.
I think the board across would agree that I love that we bring students up here. That's why we're here, like without a doubt. But if there's a couple of teachers or teams that have been smashing it for 3 or 4 years on the data, let's get them up here and let everybody, I know it's not easy. I feel for Ms. Burkett a lot. It's not easy saying I want better. Like we don't want 2 out of 5, 10 kids being at grade level. That's not what we want. It's not fun to say that, and it a lot of times comes off that we're negative to teachers. We just want the best for the kids, and if we've got some teachers that are smashing it every year, I would love to see them right there so we can stand up and hoop and holler, because that incentive of showing, hey, you're making a difference in a kid's life that's going to have a trajectory impact for the rest of their life. And if you're doing it year over year over year, that means that it's not just the testing or you have some cohort or a good class or a bad class. Nick Saban was a great coach no matter what his Joes were. And there's going to be teachers that way. Now, there's some coaches that if the Joes struggle, then they struggle. But there's some of our teachers out here that we need to put up here and give them a big round of applause because their data is doing it year in and year out.
Absolutely.
Next up, I was talking earlier, MAP is awesome. It gives us, especially spring, I think most people tested last week. It gives us a baseline to start working from, and we'll do it again at Christmas. Are we required to do it in the spring?
So we are required by stellute to do that testing 3 times per year for grades 1 through 8. Is that right? 1 through 8. It changed a little bit. We were working under some other guidelines that really legally, according to the statute and the provisos, we should provide it K through 8 3 times per year. But we were able to get a reprieve for kindergarten this year again to only give it. We're giving part of it, but not the whole test. But we are required to give it 3 times per year, and we have to report those results to the state.
Would it be worth us, the state seems to be pretty innovative right now and open to anything that can make growth happen. If we're getting, in my world, we call it survey fatigue, but if we're getting test fatigue at the end of the year, and that's potentially having an effect, would it make sense to either move that 3rd test earlier? I don't know how that works with the pacing and knowing if it's beneficial. We don't need a test for no reason. Or we as a board send a request to the state and say, hey, we would love to try this year and not do a MAP test in the spring because 2 weeks later we take the SE Ready test and we want all the attention on the SE Ready test. Have we talked about that? Is that something that we are kicking around?
So we are required to meet the statute, which we do. If the board chooses to look at that, we can certainly look at that, but that would have to be the board's decision to look at the questioning of the statute and whether to do that. One of the things we do, the first year we gave MAP, you may recall, was my first year here, and we didn't give it until I believe it was close to September. It was in September. One of the things we try to do is get it as early as possible, get it before winter break, and then give it as quick as we can. But also we want to make sure we use that as sort of a determinant of where kids may land at the end of the year, and it has proven to be a very strong predictor. So if we give it too early, then we don't always know where they may land, but also our teachers, we get mixed messages from teachers about what some want it earlier, some want it later, some want to see how they land, some want to use it to prepare for the end of the year. So we've got a whole list of comments about which one. And So we've tried to make it as early as we can and still meet the requirements. And also, I'm a huge believer in giving that break between that and the end of the year test, because you're right, test fatigue is a real thing. We certainly want the kids to put their effort into that last one. That's the one that's going to be in the public, but also it's the one that really gives us the best glimpse of what they learned and what they probably still need to learn. So yeah, but we have looked
I guess the
at all of
third
those
option
pieces.
there is that we break the year up into 4, and we test, map, SE ready instead of in 3.
Right.
To your point of, some teachers want this or some schools want this, are we required to do it uniform across the district? Because one of the things I love about a district our size is we've got 2 high schools, we've got 4 middle schools. Like, it works out really well where we could test it. If we want 2 elementary schools to do X and 4 do Y, it's not gonna hurt us to test, hey, maybe doing our final map in, 6 weeks prior instead of 2 weeks prior. Let's see what it does. And then we can actually have definitive, quality data versus just quantifiable data.
There are some pieces with the provider of that assessment that make that difficult, because it's set to assess within a window, and that window is locked in pretty much for all of our schools at one time.
So we tell the schools when they have to test within the window? What's that window?
So typically, they have about a 2-week window to give tests and then do makeups, so for kids who are absent. And also, it takes us a while to give them, because many of our schools, all of our schools, I'll say that, have many small group kinds of testing environments that they have to give as well. So we have to move to different scenarios for testing. So that takes all of our schools some time to do.
Our plan this year is to do it just like we did last year? Or is it still open for?
So we're in the window now, I believe, and then we have the next window. Do you know off the top of your head?
Sorry, Rob.
So as Dr. McDonald said, MAP defines windows of time that says you cannot, for example, the fall test. There was a date in August that you could not administer it prior to, or it would count it as a summer test instead of a fall test. Within that window, as a district, then we can choose a 2-week segment to give within that time frame.
I'm assuming that's for test fidelity to make sure we're not cheating the system.
It is, and you have to calculate, or you have to enter the number of instructional weeks that kids have had prior to taking it so that it can calculate growth and some of the other reports, understanding how long kids have been in school. Let me see if it comes up. The other piece of that, to your question about can we have some schools do it,
right,
one time and other schools do it another time frame, is MAP requires that window to close before all of the reports are populated. So oftentimes we'll have our kindergarten through 2nd teachers who say, can we give it more towards the end of the school year because we don't take SC ready.
Right.
But if we did that, then 3rd through 8th would not be able to see their results because those reports don't populate until the window closes. The window for MAP growth, let me make sure I give you the right dates.
While you're looking that up, this is all online testing, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
So, and is MAP whoever provides MAP, is that our only entity that we can use?
There are other approved
The reason I
vendors.
ask is, in the world of online testing, anything's possible. So if they want to tell us that we can't do kindergarten and first one way without 3rd and 4th, my coding people, that's just them making a decision. So it might, I don't want to fight the map makers, but at the other time, they're providing a service for us. And if that is something that's delimiting us, then let's see if there's other people who will do it different,
The fall window is August 17 through 28. The winter is November 30th to December 11th. And then the spring is March 15 through 25th. So we try to give as much time as possible in between for that fatigue purpose.
And was that where we were in that March time last year?
Right about, yes.
Thank you. I had one more. Oh, yeah, this is me being me as a kid. Getting more instruction is important, and all this testing is awesome. But let's not lose our recesses. These kids got to get out there and get active. They're going to do so much better if they're running around, especially in this crazy heat. So I think it's on us to always, let the district know that, yes, we want these numbers to be 7 out of 10, not 2 out of 10. But we also have kids, and we need to get them out there running and sweating and having fun and learning the social skills too. I think that is all my questions. Thank you very much for answering them.
Rucker?
Very good. I just wanted to mention the fifth grade, eighth grade math gains. That was substantial. That was pretty awesome. I would like to hear more about that, maybe next month. And I don't know if any of the teachers would like to present or if you would like to share more about that. But those gains were substantial, so I'd love to hear more about that. And then if we do visit a school or a district, I'd like to know where we went, you know, what we found, if there was anything that we want to bring back to Lexington too for our kids, just to know more about that throughout the year, so, yeah. But thank you for the way the information was presented. I always look for that ABC report, and then I remembered why
You'll get one.
we didn't have it this month, so, well done, everybody. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move on into operations now, and I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Cooper. As we do monthly, I want to start with our operations update that was provided to you with some key things that happened just late last month. It's our last meeting, in June, I guess it was the summer. Something we're really proud of the Safety Street Department is we conducted our I Love You Guys training as part of our back-to-school in-service with our staff this year. So really, in only 2 days, we trained over 1,000 staff members in our protocol. Typically, that happens over the first week and a half of school. So we had to get that done and get everybody trained and refreshed on our protocols for safety, which was good. We appreciate Ms. Angeliano, Mr. Rodriguez, on top of that and getting our folks trained. Student support services, you see a list of things there. A lot of work goes on during the summer with re-enrollments and training with our nurses and our mental health counseling team. School social workers, you see a lot of things that were going on. Very productive in that department. And technology, once again, was very active this summer. We're getting our devices ready for the new year. So very proud of them and their work. And the transportation, when we put it here, just a blurb for the My Ride K-12 app. Mr. Henry's, believe in pushing that with this department and make sure all of our parents know they can download that app and use that to get any kind of information they need regarding bus locations, pickup times, drop-off times. And that information is there and on our website for them to access and download that app for up-to-date information. So, also, as part of our update, we rolled into 26, 27, so you see the PIF update there and the list of projects that are already completed and in progress, only a month or so into the new year. So happy to answer any questions regarding this piece of the presentation.
Any questions for him there?
All right, and then
Move on.
I'd like to bring the podium, Mr. McPherson, Operations Director. So it is a yearly tradition here, providing an update for all the summer work that happened in our facilities. That's why I left him off the other update, didn't want to steal his thunder. So turn it over to you for an update for all the work that happened at Lexington the last couple months. Thanks, sir.
Dr. Cooper, Mr. Keys, members of the board, thank you very much for having me here today. It seems like about 3 months ago I was doing last year's presentation, so time flies when you're having fun, definitely. So this is indubitably the best-looking group of champions for children in the district. My maintenance guys. So, and honestly, we are blessed to have those guys. They are top-notch, they're awesome, they do good work, and I'm blessed, the district's blessed to have these guys. So this is the guys who are down the ditches doing all the good work for us here in this district. This summer, the Bud Group did an awesome job, probably the best year we've had with them. They came in, got it cleaned up. We got some new leadership at the end of last summer. So that leadership team's had a year to do school, and then they knocked it out of the park this summer. So I'm really looking forward to this next year and this next summer with the Bud Group carrying on this good tradition. Starting going through some things, furniture upgrades, Northside, Busby, Brooklyn, Casey, Pine Ridge, New Bridge, and L2IC all got some furniture, and that's always good to do little upgrades here and there to kind of keep up our furnitures because stuff gets damaged and broken and old. So HVAC control upgrades, installed new DDC controls,
Fulmer, Riverbank, and Casey. We've been kind of working on this about 4 years now, and this is the last 3 schools in the district. So it gives us a good platform to kind of look in, see stuff, dig, diagnose, and kind of understand what's going on in our HVAC. So glad to have all this wrapped up in the district as far as that goes. Roofing, Busby and Springdale, we did some major work there. From a maintenance guy, this is what we love to see. This is a beautiful picture. It's a goat for aerial, but no, for me, it's a nice, beautiful roof. So brand new roof, and Busby's a big, huge school, so it's good to have that one done. So, and then I just turned it off. That was awesome. Here we go, Springdale. So this is Springdale's roof. Busby was a full entire roof of the entire building, and then this was Springdale. We had 2 sections that were not finished from the bond referendum, so we finished those out there. So. Flooring, Wood, Casey, Riverbank, Saluda River, Busby, Newbridge Academy. So a lot of flooring work going on in the district. We're trying to find, improved floors and put better systems in. Maintenance-free flooring is kind of what we're gunning after here. So this is a project that Angela Brown and I had been talking to for a couple of years, finally got the funding for it. But on the right-hand side of Wood, there's this tile floor, the grout lines, you try to clean them, there's wax, there's dirt, it never did get it like we really wanted to get it. So we flooded it with a epoxy floor, the right side picture there, and then put down a flake system, which we have similar to what we did in Saluda River and the CEC. So the picture on the left shows the hallway. It doesn't show you all the depths. I took a closer one on the right. The blue in there kind of matches the door frame. So it's a really good look. It went into group restrooms, teachers' restrooms. If you haven't walked that part of the school, it looks really amazing. So Angela Brown actually gave me a call. She's gone, but she said, thank you for doing that. So that was, Mr. Price sent her some pictures, I think. So thank you for doing that. This is a floor on the other side of Wood, some LVT we put in a few years ago. And LVT, we've kind of come to find out, really doesn't have the wear capabilities. So it kind of looks rough on the left side. But we cleaned it up, and we found an epoxy system, a urethane system we can put over it that fills in all the scratches, pops back a good shine. And hopefully about 5 or 6 years from now, we'll have to do this again, maybe. So it's a really good system. That same epoxy, the same urethane system we've put in upstairs, downstairs at Saluda River over the VCT. And we put it in half a Casey, so you get rid of the stripping and waxing, and you have a nice, hard, durable surface. So we're going to keep on doing that on some more places in the district. Food service, we had a great summer hanging out with Ryan and Sodexo. We did a ton of stuff over here. So new freezer and cooler at Wood, new merchandisers, new ovens, new milk boxes, new serving lines, new warmers, new steamers. We got 20 new water heaters in the district, all mostly kitchen related. So a whole lot of work right there. Wood serves about 1,600 meals, units a day out of their kitchen. It's a small kitchen, it's old, and we ripped out the cooler freezer. So on the right side is the new freezer, it's 25 by 12. On the left side is an external cooler that we put out there at 25 by 12. So they have tons of space there. We tore out the supervisor's office inside there, which gave us about 125, 130 extra square feet. We kind of made that a prep area you see on the right there. So that was a big improvement to that kitchen. One of the nice ladies out there, she goes, miracles do happen in Lex too. So, and I said, girl, I'm glad. We've been fighting for this for a couple of years, and we finally were able to make it happen. So, and then this is just a picture of some new equipment. This is double stacked ovens. Once again, this maintenance world, we love new equipment, so that's awesome. This is one of the water heaters we put in. Several that have water heaters, due to the size, they were classified as boilers, so LLR has a license on them. We have to hire an inspector, bring them in every year. So we downsized them, put high-efficiency water heaters in to get rid of the licensing we have to do, and so it's a better product. Of the ones we took out, we scrapped them down, took off the burner assemblies, took off the control boards. So I got new water heaters, and I have a whole shelf full of parts that still go for other water heaters in different places around the district. So it's kind of a win-win on that one. Concrete work, Brooklyn, Casey, Wood, Elementary, and Saluda River. We did a lot of concrete work. On the left, you see that's Saluda River, 1955. So you have the handrail, the step down, the mulch areas. I got photobombed in my right slide there by somebody. But when you came out of the back, the side parking lot, you had to kind of come down that sidewalk was cracked up. Then you had to navigate the little stepping stones to get into the front. So what we did, we tore it all out and got rid of the mulch areas, got rid of the steps, got rid of the handrails, nice and smooth, clean. Also stuck in a handicap ramp right there to kind of help navigate that. Some of us I didn't put in here, we also did pressure washing of the entire building, sidewalks, curbs. Did it here, the CEC north side, and then at Brooklyn Casey, we did football, food, the food court out there, the arenas, curbs, airport we did, windows washing inside and out. So we had a lot of pressure washing. That's perception's reality. As people come by, they see a good-looking school. So this is another curb cut we did, put in handicap ramp over it. I think they call it the West Wing now. It used to be I-2 Tech. So we put one over here at the Pack, and then we also put one down at Woods. So we have a couple of them with the handicap ramps that went in this year. And then at the end of school last year, we took out some trees and some mulch areas and kind of concrete them out there in front of the arena, put in some benches, and that's a nice clean look, kind of concrete as islands, put in some palm trees. So it's a nice look, and maybe we can get by there tonight and take a look at it as we go to the football game. So paving across the district, the big project this summer was Bulldog Boulevard. Had a lot of potholes and stuff out there, some subsoil issues, so cut it out and got a testing group in to kind of tell us what was good areas and bad areas, fixed those, and then paved it, and then went ahead and striped it, thermostriped it. So it really looks good and fixed up a little problem we had down there. So HVAC replacement, a lot of stuff going on here. Newbridge, 8 units, Busby, 35 units down there. My maintenance guys installed 9 units at BC, Springdale, and Newbridge. So a lot of good stuff going on HVAC-wise. So here's some nice units, new units on a new roof at Springdale. And then my guys right here over at BC craning up some one morning. So you can see that crane to the left, they had to put the jib out. It was such a long reach, but it was good to get it done. So painting, wow, we did a lot of painting too. So Northside Middle was painted, looks good. BC High School, painted a little bit in the airport and Newbridge Academy. So when you walk through BC High School now, it all flows. It's all the same color. There's not gray, black, and white, and some unpainted stuff. So it walked through the school. It really looks nice as far as the paint job goes there. So this is something we've done. This is probably the 4th or 5th gym. And I guess in the 80s, 90s, the thing was to paint everything up above you the same color as your school. And you see on the right side, we painted it all white. It just opens the gym up, makes them look big, makes it look fresh. Really, it transforms them, which is really nice. So, Newbridge, the door frames were kind of a purple, if you remember that. If you've walked through there, or if you haven't walked through there lately, go walk through there, because really it looks amazing. We painted all the door frames, inside doors, door frames, handrails, a teak color, and it really looks nice. BC High School, the track out there, we tore up the old track that had been there for, I don't know, 30 years or however long it's been there. But underneath there, the asphalt had some issues with it, some cracks, some kind of weak stuff. So the recommendation was tear it up and put down new asphalt. So we did that, and the asphalt has to cure. So in about 30 days, we're gonna, actually end of August, we're gonna put down the new track system. So that'll be a nice addition to BC High School. We put a little canopy system in from the West Wing back over to Fine Arts right here to kind of keep kids out of the rain. So that's a good addition there too. And we put in a commercial washer and dryer back in the old gym area. They had some light commercial units back there, and we put some nice ones. And if y'all remember last year, and at the end of the year, we put the same system in the old gym at Airport High School too, so they got some love. Airport, the teacher wanted a black box room, kind of like we did over at BC High School, so we painted her room up, and Mr. Shillett said she was really thrilled about that, so that was a good thing. So, and finish up a project here. We've been working on Airport High School athletics about 4 years. We started off by painting all the things out there. We put a new fence up around the track. We put a new scoreboard, did turf last year, and this kind of the creme de la creme is go ahead and paint that track up. So it's a really great looking facility we have at Airport High School. Newbridge Academy, this is kind of what the rooms look like on the left. This is what the rooms look like for a couple of years. You got carpet, it's old, it's kind of dirty. You got built-in wooden cabinets, kind of musty and stuff. And we've been slowly over the last 6-7 years going in and gutting them out and redoing them. New floor, new paint, sometimes new ceilings, new electrical, hang up new dry erase boards, but they'll look clean and professional. And my guys in maintenance have been doing all the demo and all the electrical, and so we've been doing a lot of this stuff in-house, contracting out painting and flooring. But this summer we did the last 5, so we've completed that entire school like we did the Community Education Center. We finished Community Education Center about 2 years ago. So great stuff. Once again, those guys have a pep in their step now walking through that building. It really looks nice. So Casey Elementary, Mr. Trey Bray wanted some places to run, so we put a new playground out there. And I would take some up-close pictures, but there were kids out there, and I didn't have the heart to tell them to get off the new playground. So I took a picture, got it back here. But it's themed after American Ninja Warrior, so they got, it's a fun little playground out there for them to run around and play with. So Northside Middle, we redid the front office, if y'all have been in there, but it was kind of a big square, and we chopped it up a little bit. On the right, we added about an 18 by 6 or 6 or 7 storage room. On the left side, they wanted some more conference rooms, so we added a little conference room over there. And then the big old ugly thing right there in the middle is going to go away as soon as our custom desk comes in. So it'll model what we have at Pine Ridge Middle, that nice front receptionist desk. So really made it more functional, and it looks really nice. So looking forward to having it wrapped up. So coming soon, end of August, we have the track installed at BC High School. We still got a lot more food service stuff, merchandisers coming in. We got some new serving lines, wood, some pass-through, reach-through, coolers are coming in. So a lot of good stuff there. But thank you very much for this time. Thank you for your support and giving us the ability to make improvements in this district. And if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McPherson. Once again, you see a lot going on. That didn't happen by accident, but his team and support the school board and Dr. Cooper and her leadership enabled us to get this stuff done and for our kids and community. So if they have any questions,
Question, Mr. Bray?
Yes, sir. First off, great work, and I love how much stuff we do in-house. We're paying those FTEs, so we're getting the best out of it. That's great. Bulldog Way, fantastic work there. I had several people who constantly asked about that one, as you know, because I brought it up here. And, y'all might not know this, but at least this board member doesn't get a lot of people saying thanks just for something random like that. And there was a lot of thanks for that one, so good work there. I've got to say it. Yes, it looks good to concrete stuff, but every time we concrete all these beds or sod the beds, can we do a little trade-off and maybe plant a tree somewhere? I just feel like there's too many of these parking lots that are getting, I get it. I get having these islands that have, just mulch for no reason or grass that becomes weeds that you can't just run over. It's a pain in the butt, but if we can carve out, a little spot for a native tree here or there, it'll pay off dividends in the future, and it's no maintenance really as long as we're watering them, initially. After that, they take care of themselves. And then last but not least, will you switch back to the New Bridge Academy floor? I just want to ask a question for you.
That one?
Yes, sir. Go back 2 more pictures, I think. Right there.
Yes, sir.
Picture on the right. This is the new floor?
That is the new floor.
Is this woven vinyl?
That is
concept?
LVT.
Is this the same one that you put the urethane over?
Yes.
Okay, so this one will start with no urethane, but once it wears down, we can put some urethane, or is this a newer model that might not need it?
No, we feel that in this school that we're not gonna need. We have LVT and CEC. It's a lot less usage, so they have a lot less kids, a lot less going on in there. Versus wood, you got 25, 30 kids in there, and you got, 6, 8 classes of that, so. We feel like in low traffic areas that this is going to be fine.
Of these options, which ones are we looking for Busby and Saluda River so far?
So we have the quartz.
Yeah, we're looking currently at a quartz flooring. We actually went and toured a school in North Carolina today to go look at this flooring.
Like epoxy version quartz?
No, it's a tile flooring, but it's a quartz product that is what we're looking for, which is very low maintenance. Doesn't require stripping and waxing. So our plan is to do a room at Busby with this new flooring that we'd like to go with, and just get one room installed and look at it and kind of get lay eyes on it, in the field in a school here in LexingtonTwo, and then from there, roll that out at Busby, and then continue to look at options at Saluda River too, and continue to discuss those. But that's the plan. We have a vendor willing to do a room for us, really at no cost. so that we can do a kind of a test room and then go from there.
Is there any reason to not do a vinyl concept like this? Just, it seems like we have it in so many of the spots. Is
I
there-
think if you do LVT, the wear, you're not gonna get the longevity out of it, and you know, we're having to go back and kind of patch something that would to give the longevity to it.
Well, that's what made me ask. But there was a patching, but then we see it here. But if it's just such a low,
It is. It's a
so
low
much
use area.
I just, on the courts is gonna be hard, and that our floors are gonna be hard. It's concrete floors, but the sound breakup of textured vinyl versus
Well, it is,
something hard is such a,
Yeah, and the
especially
product-
in little kid classrooms.
Yeah,
I
the
just
product is called a quartz, but it's not like a hard quartz. I mean, so it's a quartz component inside of the makeup of the tile. So, like I said, we're gonna do a room and then look at it and decide from there. But we've got some pretty good reviews on it so far from folks we've talked to that have used it, and it's become a standard in some larger districts in the upstate and North Carolina as well.
awesome. I look forward to seeing some trees planted.
There were
Thank you,
palm
sir.
trees planted. There were palm trees.
There were.
Not the trees you wanted.
Anything else?
Any other, Ms. Burkett?
Could I just thank you, Mr. McPherson, and please give your good-looking team a big thank you from all of us. We really appreciate your hard work over the summer.
We really appreciate that, man. Thank you very much for that.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
That's a lot of work.
All right, we're gonna move into old business. And the first item there is consideration of second reading of proposed revisions to board policy JFABC, transfer students. And this is informational only for board, and there will be no vote required tonight. Addition of administrative rule JFABC-R, transfer students. And I think I'm gonna turn this over to Mr. Warren.
Yeah, this is something we had some discussion about at our last meeting, with some new statutes and regulations with inter-district transfers, just making sure that we have a clear, process for that, that we're, looking at now, and we're actually meeting here the next week or so to kind of talk through that and make sure we're all on the same page as a team, district-wise, but very clear, kind of spells out the exact process for inter-district transfers and, what would need to happen, for those to be allowed, into the district, obviously reviewing a lot of things, including, discipline, attendance, looking at capacity of schools, and that's part of this process too, as we're meeting actually next week also to kind of revisit our formula for school capacities and make sure that we're very clear about, the space that we have available for this, because if there's not capacity at the building, then that would be a reason that an inter-district transfer wouldn't be, allowed. And so we do have some capacity at some of our schools, but still want to have a number there to make sure we're very clear on that. So just once again spells out the process that we'll follow, about the windows, when these will be posted for applications, how long that window would remain open, and then a date for when, the folks that have applied would receive a decision from us. So happy to answer any questions on it.
Any questions there? All right, we'll move on to the next one. Let me turn over to Ms. Wooten.
That was second reading, right?
Yeah.
That was
I'm
second
gonna-
reading,
That was
so
second reading there.
one is a policy and one's the administrative rule, so we do need a vote, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
I make a motion that we approve the administration's recommendation, proposed revisions to board policy JFABC, transfer students. And then we also will add the addition of the administrative rule JFABC-R, transfer students, but no vote required.
Second.
All right, had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries, and you're gonna carry over into 7B? Take that motion?
Okay.
It's a long one.
Yeah, y'all just bear with me a second. I make a motion that we consider the first approval for the first reading of proposed revisions to board policy AC, non-discrimination, equal opportunity, board policy GBA, open hiring, equal opportunity, and affirmative action, board policy GBAA, sexual harassment and retaliation staff, board policy GCE, professional staff recruitment, board GCEC posting and advertising of professional vacancies. Board Policy GCF, professional staff hiring. Board Policy GDF, support staff hiring. Board Policy IHA, basic instructional program. Board Policy IIA, grouping for instruction. Board Policy JB, equal educational opportunity, non-discrimination. Board Policy JIAA, sexual harassment and retaliation students. And then information only for the board, and there's no vote required, revision to Administrative Rule GBAA-R, sexual harassment and retaliation staff, and Administration Rule AJAR-JIAA-R, sexual harassment and retaliation students.
All right, I had a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second? All in favor, say aye. No, we got
discussion.
discussion. I'm sorry, I did have Dylan here and Dr. Cooper.
Yes,
the
I'd like to
trustees.
introduce Mr. Dylan Crosland from White, Story, and Hicks, our administrative attorneys. You'll recall that one of the partners were here before to elaborate on the recommended changes. So if you have any questions, Mr. Crosland is here to assist with those questions. Thank you so much for being here, Dylan.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper. Thank you, Mr. Chair and the board members. As Dr. Cooper said, Ashley Story was tied up in a mediation, wasn't able to be here today. She's unfortunate. Sorry about that. I was able to come a little bit earlier, catch the tail end of the reception and the ceremony. It was a great ceremony. Reluctantly, I didn't grab a cupcake or anything, so a little hungry, get something on the way out. But I know you guys have discussed these policies a couple times. I think it was Mr. Bray who mentioned this. As the administrations change, obviously the law is ever changing. As a board, you're tasked with constantly updating and reviewing your policies. And these changes throughout these policies do that exactly. They take into consideration these new executive orders, directives that have tasked the federal agencies, state agencies such as SHAC, EEOC, DOJ, OCR with enforcing these anti-discrimination laws and really simplified, streamlined it as it relates to some of these long-standing protected classes. So that's what's in front of you guys tonight, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have as you decide on these policies. Thank you.
Got a question for you, good sir. If we make these proposed changes, we get sued next week, we're covered by Skibbit, right?
Yes, sir. Your insurance company is the South Carolina Insurance School Board Trust.
Gotcha, and their attorneys would be the one who would work the case?
They would be appointed through them, yes, sir.
Have we run this by them?
They are updated on this. Obviously, they are in partnership with the South Carolina School Board Association in-house there, so they put out the model policies on that, and they are informed of this as well.
I mean this with absolutely no disrespect. However, we have pretty much in-house counsel, and I presume y'all deal with hiring and firing and discrimination law all the time. We pay Skibbit yearly to cover us, and they are going to be the ones who prosecute or defend these cases. And again, no disrespect, I just don't feel, I get that we may disagree with the recommendation that administration has brought, and I presume that administration brought it because the attorney world sent it to us. I just feel like it's somewhat circular, where we just keep having to pay to give some, we don't have to have any of these policies. I think it's fair to say if we did not have these policies, we just fall back on statute. And statute falls back on federal. So I just feel like, yes, we can change every one of these words. I feel confident that any attorney in here would say, we could make, none of these changes are going to definitively keep us from being sued. People can sue for anything. And most likely, as long as we're doing the right thing, no matter what these words say, we're not going to lose. And if we're doing the wrong thing, hopefully we do lose so that we stop doing the wrong thing. And that right and wrong hasn't changed, since the old law, right? So I will obviously be voting no. I put the verbiage that I thought would make a lot more sense last time, so that we don't have to constantly move goalposts and then pay attorneys to tell us why the goalpost should move, versus just not discriminate and follow federal statute. So I don't think there was a question there. I do appreciate, I hate that you had to be there, nothing personal, but I feel like we've been doing this for 6 years that I've been on the board, and it's excruciating, and it's costly.
If I could have a point of clarification, please. The first step, if we have any infraction at the employment level, Title VII, Title IX, for students or staff, school boards would not be the initial contact. The initial contact would be the administrative attorney. If we are not successful, it would then go to school boards, and we're always successful. So, I mean, I don't mean to brag.
Right,
but, you know.
and that's kind of my point.
I'm saying.
My point is
They
that if
would
you're
have to
doing,
defend
if
it.
you're doing right, then the words in these policies, while they carry weight, they're gonna look at precedent. They're gonna look at what we've been doing, not our actions, not our words. Like that's what, if you were prosecuting from the other side, that's what you're gonna go find is precedent where we're breaking it and say we treated Sarah wrong. You're not gonna go look at how many times we've changed this policy. If you go to the bottom, you'll see how many times we've changed it. So this action just, Jim, will you go to the bottom real quick? I'll be interested in how many times we've changed this one recently. It's a long one. So 1, 2, 3, 5, this will be the 4th or 5th time since I've been on the board. And again, every time that it's a cost. So that is why I'll be voting no, not for the particulars of the verbiage in it, just that we've got to find a process that we're not doing this every year for no reason. And at the same time, Dr. Cooper, kudos to you now and you as the HR world of doing the processes right so that the precedent is there.
Well, but, you know, we do, it is imperative, whether I'm in that seat or this seat, when it comes to administrative attorney support, that we do have folks that we know, when I call an attorney, I want an answer right then. You know what I mean? And we do have that wonderful relationship with our administrative attorney, and we do with the board counsel, but we're talking about our level, you know, of attorney, and it is just critical. I'd rather have it than not have it on any day. Thank you, though, for that comment. Thank you so much, Mr. Crossley.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on it? All right, seeing no more discussion, we had a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Nay, no, whatever. It's been a while since I've opposed. What do I say, nay or no?
Nay's
Nay,
good, no.
there we go.
Thank you, Mr. Crossland.
All right, now we're gonna move down into new business and consideration of honors framework for course. Who has that one?
Dr. McDonald.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to pass it to Dr. Burgraff, who's going to explain the need for this addition to our high school programs.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Cooper, the normal progression through chorus in high school is chorus 1 through 8. If I'm in high school for 4 years, I'm in it every semester. But if I'm an honors student, as we expand our fine arts programming, I actually come in at chorus 3. That's the first level where an audition is required, where honors credit is awarded. As students then progress starting at 3, we get to a point where we now need to award honors credit for chorus 9. Because the student has reached that point, they have been in honors chorus up to this point, and while we have had chorus 9 as a course, not at the honors level. So it is the request of our high schools to be able to award honors credit for chorus 9. You see the framework that the teacher has put together there that would explain and why honors credit is warranted, and we are requesting your approval to add that to the course catalog.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the request that the honors course gets credit. Is that correct, how you want?
Honors credit, honors
Honors
weighting. Yes.
credit for chorus.
Second.
Had a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, next one is consideration of first reading of proposed policy revisions to board policy DKC, expense authorization reimbursement. Ms.
I'm gonna
Williams?
go ahead and make the motion and get it out, and then we can discuss it. I make a motion that we consider first reading a proposed policy revision to board policy DKC, expense authorization reimbursement.
All We had a motion, do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion? Ms. Burkett?
Could somebody just explain to me what we're changing? Because in the one case, we say we're gonna pay for things, and in the second case, I mean, it's just a little confusing to me.
This policy, I am removing the sentence that says the district will also provide 80% advance funding for hotel, meals, and mileage 10 working days in advance if requested on the appropriate travel forms. I'm just removing that one sentence.
Okay, well, how is that different from the sentence that precedes it?
That the district will prepay the hotel reservation. So if you'll allow me just to kind of but to walk you through the logistics of how travel works for our district. So our employees, when they go to a conference, they fill out an out-of-district travel approval form, and they request for the travel to take place, and it goes to the supervisor and then to the deputy superintendent. If approved, the bookkeeper would enter a requisition to the hotel and for registration. These expenses are paid before the employee travels, so that those expenses are taken care of. Each employee is responsible for mileage if driving a personal vehicle, and meals if not provided by the conference. So each employee would pay for that. When they return, a requisition is entered to reimburse the employee for the actual mileage they drove at 76 per mile as of July 1st, and the allowance for the actual meals that were not provided by the conference. So as long as those should be done within 10 days of returning. So when they return, those requisitions get put in and they get reimbursed. So I'm just taking out the part, we would give them the advance on the front end,
Okay.
and we would pay the actual when they return of what is allowable.
Does that affect anybody in terms of people not having the funds available personally for meals? I'm just asking.
Well, so 3 years ago, in 23-24, it was brought to my attention, this was the normal practice, okay? I found this cumbersome for staff to reconcile and to track whether the employee has or has not paid the funds back, because sometimes the advance could be more than what they, the actual expense. And then somebody has to track how much, they have to reconcile how much they owe back.
Right.
Or have they paid the funds back? So that was brought to my attention 3 years ago. So I asked my admin assistant to track this the following year, which was 2 years ago in 24-25, to see how many people this would affect if we eliminated it. We had 9 total advances that year. 7 of the advances were for the same trip, and 6 of the 9 advances owed money back to the district. So last year, I made the recommendation to eliminate this practice, and it was approved. And we had 0 advances last year and had 0 complaints. As I was looking through the policies for another purpose, I noticed we have this statement in policy. So to make sure our practices are following the policy, that's why I'm bringing this change to you tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Bray?
To make sure I understand, we will front the money for hotel, trains, planes,
The
and
money should be
registration
paid
fees
to the
ahead of
hotel.
time, and because we're paying directly. Do we have, and I don't want to open up a Pandora's box, but if there's some situation where a new teacher, a new employee, someone needs to go, they can't front their per diem, their meals, entertainment, fun stuff. Is there P card concepts in the school district, or?
We do have P cards, yes.
So is that something that if there was ever a big situation, great, we haven't had any, but if there was some situation we need to help someone, can we issue P cards on, turn them back off, or is that a big no-go?
I would have to check with the procurement director for what P cards are allowed for, because normally meals, no. We do pay for hotels for that. But, if it's done far enough in advance, the hotel will be paid.
Right.
And, if there's certain situations that we need to work with an employee, we can do that. It's just since I asked for this to be eliminated, you know,
Hasn't been an issue.
I haven't heard anything about it.
I think it makes sense.
Ms. Strickland, and not to go into Pandora's box either on this, but, and I may be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong, I remember, it's been before you, what we pay when our teachers go to these conferences for the hotel rooms, a lot of times that is less than what the host hotel is charging per room or for their rooms, and our teachers or staff have to stay outside of the host hotel and then go to the host hotel for the conference or meeting or et cetera. Do you remember?
I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
yes.
Is that correct?
There is a host hotel, and sometimes when the host hotel is booked full, you have to
No,
get
but I
a-
mean, we have a cap on what y'all will pay for the teachers to go, if I'm not correct on that. I
So
remember,
there's a government rate that,
Right.
that I think in the past had been capped. What we do is we have an exclusion so that when that happens, we can give permission to the employee
Right.
to stay at a different hotel. We just have to acknowledge it in writing.
Yes.
That this hotel that we're paying for actually costs more than what the government allowable rate was.
If it's paid with federal funds, that is the case.
okay, so what I get, it, and I understand what you just explained to us, so we're pretty much, because I wanted to make sure we were paying up front, 'cause especially with teachers, I mean, they're not gonna, but I remember that we did, and it's been a couple years since I've heard a complaint, with the rate, they were not able to stay at the host hotel, because the host hotel was more than the government rate. And I don't want that to happen. It is not pleasant not to stay at a host hotel.
There is
We
an
all found that
exception.
out ourselves, recently, so.
There's an exception for that.
Okay, so you've answered my question, and that's great. So y'all make up the difference. We make up the difference, so they can stay at the host hotel.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Just to clarify, if they're going to a hotel that has host hotel and it's above per diem lodging, we can accept the conference rate on the state side. We can accept the hotel rate even if it's above per diem.
Yes, we have an exemption, and that is one of the exemptions. They just have to sign and explain why that rate
Conference
is
rate,
more.
check it, move on with life.
Yeah.
And then we reimburse it when they get back, as long as they get you the
Or we just
appropriate
pay for the
payment.
hotel.
Yeah, well, I know we pay for the hotel up front.
Meals and the mileage is
Yes,
reimbursed.
yes, to them.
Should be within 10 days
Okay.
when they
all right.
return.
Okay,
They submit their paperwork.
very
As long as
good.
they submit the paperwork and everything's allowable.
Well, yes, everybody got to submit the paperwork. I got you.
All right, we had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, motion carries. All right, you gonna take the next one?
Yes, I will. Hang on just a second, I lost my original paper.
I got you.
Go ahead, please.
I move that we consider the first and second reading of proposed policy revisions to board policy JKAA, high school student discipline, and board policy JKAB, PK-2, elementary and middle school student discipline.
I had a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second? All right, any discussion? All right, no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. I'm gonna drop down for some travel here.
I move to approve the district's consideration of 3 overnight out-of-state travels as listed on the agenda.
Second.
All right, had a motion and a second, any discussion on them?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Hall.
Matt, we have Google Workspace, right? Do we ever do electronic signatures and form routing? I'd just like for us to try it on one. I see this every time, and I cringe at the paper passing around. Not saying we gotta convert the whole district, but I'd just like us to try one, just one. Because most corporations now use DocuSign or Google or something. Just pick one and try it.
Can it be the per diem reimbursement? Might speed up that payment a little faster.
I have a plan for that.
Okay, just a request to try, pick one of them, I don't care which one.
If I may, because we brought this up last year, as a parent, the amount of paper that we fill out of the exact same thing that's just on a different color, like, we've got to be able to get that electric at some point. Thank you.
All right. I had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Now we're moving on into another travel.
I move that we accept the administration's recommendation for one out-of-state staff travel request. Casey Elementary teacher to attend annual SASUP conference in Asheville, North Carolina, October 14 through 16, 2026.
Motion and a second. Any discussion there? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, motion carries. All right, that brings us down into our announcements. And August 26th is early release day. September 7th is Labor Day holiday. September 9th, interims issued. You see interims 2 days after Labor Day? That's incredible. How early we starting. September 17th, employee years of service recognition and reception at 5:15 at the PAC Center. And then September 17th is our regular monthly meeting of the Board of Trustees at 6 p.m. And I think I just got an update. BC is winning, going into halftime. It's 7-0
Nice.
as of now, so. All right, I'll entertain a motion on executive.
I make a motion that we adjourn for executive session for consideration of personnel appointments, reappointments, retirements, and resignations.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are in executive.
I make a motion that the meeting be reconvened in open session and the appropriate affidavit executed.
Had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are back in open.
Make a motion that we approve the administration's recommendations for certified and support appointments and temporary part-time employees.
Had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. We are out of here.